Imagine being one of the most creative geniuses in the world and a billionaire, and you run one of the most creative companies known to man. In a land of giants, in a universe where anything is possible, you decide to make your on-screen character as close to your real-life character as possible.
But let me tell you this, I am no pervert.
That's Vince McMahon. What's up, everybody? This is Durags and Arm Drags. You can call me DNA for short. And today I want to do a video on Vince McMahon. We all know the real life issues he has, from the allegations to the things that are true to all of the different stories. Vince McMahon has been accused, and I'm sure a lot of it is true, about the things he have done to women, to men, wrestlers. The list goes on. Today, I'm not really here to talk about that. I think something like that has to be discussed in very specific details. You have to do a lot of work if you're going to cover that stuff, especially when there's a lot of people who've been affected by his actions. So that's not the kind of video I'm making today. Today, I want to focus on 5 times Vince McMahon has been a complete insane psychopath piece of in storylines. I'm going to have 5 of them, and I'm going to rank them from evil to evil. Because to be honest, I think Vince McMahon has done nothing but create evil storylines for himself. I mean, I can't think of a storyline where he's like been a humanitarian where it hasn't come back to be something evil. To be honest, that's what we adored about his character. That's up until, you know, you get older and you're able to research and find out a lot of stories and details from around these times. You realize that the sick character of Mr. McMahon was actually just Vince McMahon himself. All right, starting at 5-5, we have Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon versus the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels and God. Y'all remember WrestleMania 22, right? There was the whole Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon rivalry. During that time, Shawn Michaels wanted to be a world champion, but Vince McMahon was pretty much just making his life a living hell. Every week, it was Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon doing something underhanded to try to take down Shawn Michaels. I think they just hate that Shawn Michaels had like a career resurgence, and more importantly, became more about God and less about Montreal screwjobs. Shawn tried to humble himself, and Vince wasn't having it. Vince wanted to humble Shawn himself. This man shoved Shawn Michaels' head. Well, he attempted. I think he might have actually done that. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he attempted to add Shawn Michaels to that Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club. But Shawn Michaels reversed that and shoved Shane McMahon's head up Vince's. They made him take a drug test at one point. I think he actually did join the Kiss Club, to be honest. They had the Spare Squad whooping on him. They did a lot. WrestleMania 22 comes. Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels, and a street fight. Shawn Michaels put belt to ass in that match. I'm not gonna lie. Shawn Michaels whooped on Vince like it was the last time he was ever gonna whoop on Vince. I mean, this man, Shawn Michaels, gathered the spirit of The Undertaker, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, put them all in one just to give Vince McMahon the whooping of a lifetime. And it worked. Honestly, I think Vince McMahon is like 0 and like 1,000 in street fights. So after WrestleMania 22, Shawn Michaels comes to the ring and says, you know what, I'm done with Vince. I had enough of this. I'm moving on. What I want to do is focus on becoming a champion again. Been like 3 or 4 years since I've been champion. So I'm going after John Cena. Here comes my boy Vinnie Mac.
Now money ain't the problem, see my dough is like.
Oh, not my boy. Here comes somebody's boy, Vinnie Mac. Shawn, we ain't done. The reason you beat me at WrestleMania 22 is because I was in a handicap match against you and
God!
Maybe I'm wrong. Just maybe I'm wrong. I watched the match. I don't think God had nothing to do with that. I think Shawn might have channeled the devil on that situation. Whooped your ass. That was the devil's work. God did. God would, but the devil did. So pretty much he tells him, listen, we're going to run it back. Backlash 06, since you like handicap matches, we're going to make this a little even. It's going to be me, and I quote, he says this,
Product of my semen!
Shane McMahon versus the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and his running mate, twinning them.
God!
Now, see, at this point, Vince has always been crazy, right? So I think Vince is like actually off his rocker at this point. Maybe Vince is seeing something that we are not seeing. Like Vince got sweet chin music. He got elbow dropped by Shawn Michaels off a ladder with a trash can over his head. I think Vince is seeing things that we couldn't see. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. I don't know what it was, but he was experiencing stuff that you probably only experienced in church. So what's the best next move for Vince? He needs answers for the things he's been seeing, right? So Vince takes him and his product of his demon, Shane McMahon, to church. Billions of people in the world, right? We have our own views, we have our own thoughts, opinions, we have our own religious beliefs. This man said, you know what? I'm gonna take my to this church. I'm gonna find Shawn's partner. Cool. You want to find his partner? People look for their ops. Usually the ops not God, or what Vince McMahon sees as God. Vince and Shane get into the church, and then Vince says, hold on, we got a tip. He pulls out a card, and Shane tells him it's cash only. And Vince is so disgusted at this point. He's like, what kind of festival are they running here? I think he thinks God is so unprofessional because it's cash only. At one point they go to the back. There's like a fountain, right? It's a water fountain. Not a fountain. It's like what you say. It's holy water. And for some reason, Vince goes to wash his hands. You know when Diddy got tired of being around the people, so he felt filthy and gross. He said he needed all this hand sanitizer. I think Vince felt like that. You know, weird minds think alike. But anyways, so Shane tells him, no, Pops, you can't drink out of there, Pops. So Vince takes the water and said, Jay, who am I? Watch this. Son, watch this. He takes the water, puts it in his mouth, and his first instinct was to do the Triple H. How's nobody this man at this point? The shit they let us watch as kids is crazy. Wrestling is completely different than what it was. I don't know if it's for better or for worse. I miss it, but also I get why some of this shit wouldn't be on TV. They do a prayer at one point. Pretty much thou shalt not with Vince. I think he talked about his tends to talk a lot about his like such a bunch of bull, pretty much challenges God. All the years later, you see what God did to him. Over the next couple of weeks, Vince has Umaga whooping on Shawn. And for some reason, Vince tries to attack Shawn and pyro goes off, explosions happen. I don't know if I actually believe this was God as a kid. I wish I could like tap into my child brain and be like, what were you thinking? Did you think this was real? But at that time, I think I was a teenager in 2006, so I didn't think it was real. I had that kind of common sense.
Stop the cap.
I had it spoiled for me very early on, before, you know, social media. I had, you know, siblings going, yeah, man. I used to crash out for some wrestling, man. So yeah, Umaga whooping on Shawn, God protecting Shawn. Vince keeps referring to Shane's face being in his. I think he secretly enjoyed that. It ain't look like Shane really enjoyed it, but some tell me Vinnie Mac found a little pleasure in it. Backlash 2006. Here comes Vinnie Mac and Shane McMahon. They come down to the ring confident. Shawn Michaels comes out. Ain't worried about nothing. Now it's time for his partner to come out.
God!
At this point, I'm believing everything at this point, to be honest. I was like, man, who gonna beat them? Who gonna beat Shawn? This is like AJ Styles and Dragon Lee put together. Shawn Michaels and God, are you kidding me? I thought they were unstoppable. And they were unstoppable. Shawn was whooping their until the Spirit Squad interrupted. Spirit Squad, too many members to name. Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon beat the brakes off of Shawn Michaels. Beat the brakes off of HBK. There's more to the story. Eventually DX forms, blah, 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 blah. Who cares about that? I just want to tell you my number 5 spot. Vince and Shane McMahon versus Shawn Michaels and God. You think it don't get crazier than that, and it kind of do. This next one is it's debatable, to be honest. You could put it at 4 or 5. This is my ranking. I don't care what y'all rank this. I'm ranking this. Number 4, Durag Vince McMahon. Durag Vince is one of the most evil, racist creations ever. I mean, the already said.
Keep it up.
I ain't forget that. I don't forget nothing. This man hated ECW so much he thought the most extreme thing he could do was put on the durag. It was supposed to be the battle of the billionaires, right? Donald, Vince McMahon. They old ass obviously ain't gonna wrestle. So what they do? Vince got Umaga, right? Donald, nope. So you know what? You wanna get the Samoan bulldozer? I'm going to ECW. I'm gonna give me Bobby Lashley. The only thing Vince hates more than people who have more money than him is ECW. I gotta go all out. Why my cat just walk wild? Hey kitty. Don't look at me like that. I don't know who to cheer for in this moment. They're both evil. It's a lose-lose. This is where it kicks up. Because every time he wear a hat, Bobby Lashley taking that off. So Vince said, you know what? Bobby, it's me and you. We gonna get it on. This man starts wearing a do-rag because he wants to take it extreme. McMahon puts on that damn do-rag and loses his mind. This man starts speaking in Ebonics. He starts speaking in hood. He like, yo, what up? He's saying the craziest. 2007 was a wild time. At this time, too, I thought wrestling was tame compared to the 90s. Was I wrong? Do-rag Vince was in the flesh and he was an evil. I thought Vince McMahon as a character was already scary because, like, imagine having a boss that every single day you come into work, he's gonna terrorize you. And no matter how much he terrorizes you, no matter how much you eventually get your comeuppance, he right back on you. He don't quit. And he don't quit because the pay good. I know a lot of us have been in that position. We don't quit. We take it day by day. Them WWE superstars was taking it day by day. And that's what he had Bobby Lashley, the ECW world champion, doing. Taking it day by day. Gonna be me. I'm quitting. 6 months there, I'm getting my unemployment. I don't care. I ain't staying crazy. I'm getting that little $600 check. Yeah, I'm not staying for this. Bye, Vince. I mean, if the pay good, I might, kiss my ass club. What I gotta do? By the way, so I gotta join the Kiss My Ass Club. If you like and subscribe, you help me get rid of this iPhone 5. Vince, at this point, he's a wrestling terrorist. He is just terrorizing Bobby Lashley and terrorizing anybody he can. Vince McMahon is losing his damn mind. I think this man thought he was Rachel Doylers or whatever her name was. This man was the original man that thought he was pretending to be black. It's crazy. And the crazy thing is he won the ECW championship too. Oh, he lost his mind. He was walking with bravado. He was swagging. He was going crazy. I had never seen him like this. He's been worse. He's been racist. But the level of racism he was showing, kind of crazy. Vince McMahon's do-rag era was the definition of nasty work. If I see that man with a do-rag again, it's a wrap. I don't care. Man can have alopecia. I don't give a lose all your hair if you want to. If you put that do-rag back on, big dude, he got something for you. Pretty much this was another story of Vince McMahon, getting what he wants. I can't remember who won that damn storyline. I don't really care. And moving on to number 3, when he was the leader of the corporate ministry. Now, this isn't really about the corporate corporate ministry per se. This is more about Vince McMahon being so crazy that he'll go to any length possible to get what he wants. We all know the Ministry of Darkness, right? Alkalites, Edge, Christian, Gangrel, Viscera, or Big Daddy V, whatever you want to call them. Just don't call them me. Yeah, we know the ministry. You know the corporate ministry, the corporation? So they form, I think minus Kemp Shamrock, who left the corporation because The Undertaker abducted his sister, which is another problem with Vince. Vince McMahon turns out to be the leader, the higher power of the corporate ministry. They had abducted people. They sacrificed women, abducted women, sacrificed men. I think they abducted the Big Boss Man at one point just to sacrifice him. They hung the Big Boss Man in the Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. But you know what's even crazy? Because all that's crazy, right? It's disgusting and crazy if you're the leader of this. What's crazy is Vince McMahon spent that entire storyline pretending to be hurt by the fact that The Undertaker wanted to abduct and pretty much Stephanie McMahon. He wanted to make her his wife. God knows what he wanted. Ultimately, what he said he wanted was power over the World Wrestling Federation. Okay. One, Taker. I don't think you could have got power like that. It's publicly traded. There's contracts. There's other people. Vince, he's a majority owner, but there was like laws and legal things that you had to go through. I don't think everything ran through the underworld. He pretty much spent the better part of a year lying over the fact that he wanted to get rid of the Ministry of Darkness and the corporate ministry after Shane McMahon helped take over. Vince McMahon was revealed as the higher power. Vince McMahon also had his daughter abducted.
Come on, man.
So all this time, Stephanie thought that Vince had her back. Vince was on the side. Vince wants to protect her. He was orchestrating all this. And why, you may ask? To teach Stone Cold Steve Austin a lesson. That's crazy. And I was here for it. As a kid, I didn't know what was going on. Every week, I was like, I gotta tune in. Every single week. What's happening? Are they gonna get Stephanie? Are they not gonna get Stephanie? Or what's Ken Shamrock gonna do? They got Ryan Shamrock. Oh no, they found Ryan Shamrock. Wait, they lost Ryan Shamrock again. Oh wait, they found her again. Oh wait, the Brood's in here. Wait, the Brood's wanna leave. Wait, Undertaker sacrifice everybody. Wait, Undertaker gonna sacrifice his own family. Which I don't know how this man has a family at this date, because like if Vince McMahon is running around like Mr. McMahon and actually be Mr. McMahon, I can only imagine what half of these wrestlers is doing. I like to consider myself like No Way Jose. He's gonna dance all over the place. Mr. McMahon literally did all this just to prove Stone Cold a lesson, just so he couldn't be world champion. Vince, you crazy. You could have literally just did this the old-fashioned way. Strip him of the title, put him in a 6-on-1 handicap match for the world title, anything. You didn't have to abduct your daughter. That part of the storyline kind of killed it anyway. So like, it was but the Ministry of Darkness was fired. The corporation was fired. That birthed a new generation of wrestling fans like myself. Even though I was like 3 or 4 watching the new generation too. I remember much about it. I just remember I was watching it. Looking back on it, maybe you should have did that. And maybe you should stop treating your family like that. Which brings me to my number 2 slot. Vince McMahon sedates his wife and cheats on her and abuses his family.
Oh, hell no.
So about the year 2000, Vince McMahon suffered a lot of brain damage at the hands of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And different superstars just beating him up every day. He was losing his mind. Pretty much tired of his family. He thought the best thing to do was tell his wife publicly that he wants a divorce. This sent Linda into shock. She ran away. She was depressed. She was hurt. I mean, the man you loved all these years tell you wanted a divorce. Linda falls into depression. Vince decides to keep his wife, Linda, sedated. That's strike 1. Vince turns their daughter against Linda. Strike 2, or a billion. Keep it count. Vince also gets into a sexual relationship with Trish Stratus, his employee, who's like 20 times younger than him.
You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. Take your ass and get you an old bitch.
Strike a billion, because I'm sure it's not the first time. Shane gets involved. Shane wants to put a stop to this, right? But if there's one thing you gotta understand, you can't tell Vince to do. You think Vince gonna listen to this, man? No. What does Vince do? Vince pretty much just beats up his son and has his son beat up for weeks on end. Vince does a bunch of sexual stuff with Trish. Vince pretty much Trish Stratus. Vince McMahon is one of the most evil men on green earth. And this damn storyline proves it. I mean, sure, Shane gets his comeuppance at WrestleMania. Linda gets her comeuppance. With the help of Trish Stratus and with the help of Mick Foley, the McMahons got their comeuppance. Except for one thing, Vince kept his entire family at the end of this. Wrestling will really sell you on some shit. They'll tell you people are brothers and sisters, and then you find out they're not brothers and sisters, and they pretend like it never happened. Wrestling will tell you that The Undertaker and Kane are brothers, right? And The Undertaker set the family house or funeral parlor or whatever on fire and the entire family and Baron Kane. Then they're tag team, and then they're not tag team, and then they're tag team again. They're not tag team, then they're buried each other alive, and then they're tag team again, and then they're enemies, and then one's a mayor and one's on a podcast with his wife, and I can't keep up. Wrestling is confusing. Vince McMahon literally sedated his wife, turned his family against each other, and kept his family. Surely you can't get more evil than that, right?
But wait, there's more.
Wrong. My number one choice. Vince McMahon violates Stephanie McMahon. WrestleMania always brings out the worst in Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon hates Hulk Hogan. Vince McMahon wants Hulk Hogan dead. Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan trying to shut to a street fight. Vince gets his ass whooped. Vince McMahon fires Hogan at one point. So Hulk Hogan comes back as Mr. America. Now, I can't stand both of them. I know one's passed, won't say too much, but I can't stand both of them. Obvious reasons. Vince McMahon is like, hey, you're Mr. America. What are you doing? You can't do this. I fired you. Hulk Hogan's like, I'm sorry, Mr. America's like, I'm not Hulk Hogan, brother. Yada, yada, yada. They have a feud. This leads to Zach Gowen coming in. Zach Gowen was a handicapped wrestler. He had one leg, amazing in the ring, super talented young kid at the time. He was the underdog and we all rooted for him. The one thing Vince McMahon hates more than his family is apparently handicapped people, right? That leads to him having beef with Mr. America and Zach Gowen for a couple weeks. Other than Mr. America, Zach Gowen's biggest supporter was SmackDown general manager Stephanie McMahon, who was his daughter. Vince don't like this. Only he's allowed to turn his back on you. That's just the rules. He makes the rules and breaks the rules. Vince McMahon pretty much hires Sable as his personal assistant. He's Sable. Vince is tormenting Stephanie with another woman 3 years, less than 3 years of the last time this happened. Vince McMahon does not want Zach Gowen anywhere near the company. Every underhanded trick to embarrass this handicapped kid. He has him arrested, puts him in matches, arm wrestling matches, where he's losing and he kicks his leg from under him. He sends Sable to seduce Zach Gowen just to embarrass him. Then he role plays with Sable in Stephanie McMahon's office as if he was Zach Gowen about to have sex with Sable. That's not the craziest part of the story. This one particular moment, after Stephanie got tired of being tormented by her father and also having Zach Gowen tormented by her father. By the way, Mr. America revealed himself as Hulk Hogan and got fired some point in this story. This is crazy. I just want to give you that. So he was out. So this story was because he was out. Stephanie pretty much is telling Vince, hey, Dad, all these years, you've done wrong by me. No matter what, I've always been there for you. How could you do this? When you had those late dinner meetings with executives, I did any and everything in my power to make sure you were happy. You know what it's alluding to. Vince allegedly used his daughter to, fulfill business obligations. Instead of handling this, with his daughter, maybe a therapist, also going to jail, turn yourself in, Vince. He goes to the ring and he's like,
Steph, you know what? I want to apologize to you. Zach, you're right, Steph. I did it.
He did say something along the lines that he, not purposely, but he took her innocence. So he was saying pretty much, yeah, I did use you to do favors for those executives to fulfill my business obligations. At some point, wrestling starts to blur reality, and I know I want to stay in story, but what the is this? Vince McMahon is one of the sickest I've ever encountered in my life. And I hate that he is the reason why a lot of my childhood was great because of the sports entertainment. This was the biggest part of my childhood. And to look back on it and to actually understand a lot of the stuff that was said, the verbiage that was used, that is crazy. This to me is one of the most crazy Vince McMahon things that goes under the radar. I don't ever hear people talk about that. I don't care about the storyline. I don't care about him hating Zach Gowen because he was handicapped. He said he took his daughter's innocence in the storyline, and the networks were like, yeah, we're not gonna pull this off TV. This is too good. This is way too good to pull off a TV. I bet them execs had all their popcorn ready. Man, this is sick. Mr. McMahon is one of the greatest characters of all time, but Vince McMahon is one of the most piece of people of all time. It's crazy. You know how hard it is to take the good with the bad in certain situations? Especially now, I can't take the good with the bad because I know the stuff he did off of the camera. But on camera, it was just a reflection of who he really is. I find that crazy, and I'm glad wrestling is in different hands. Hopefully, it gets into better hands one day where, things are fair and the women are treated equally and not objectified the way they are. Hopefully, wrestling is actually making a change. This is not just this PR stunt. I really hope that things are becoming different because as much as I'm like, oh my God, a lot of these stories are part of my childhood. I love it. Having a storyline with your daughter, I don't care if she's an adult or not. Having a storyline with your actual daughter and speaking about taking her innocence is nuts. And that's why I got this ranked #1 on my list. If you think different, you're crazy. I don't care what you say. Sure, there's other storylines that do blur reality, but this is a Vince McMahon video, so coming after him. If you guys could think of any Vince McMahon storylines from your childhood that you thought were crazy and out of there, put them in the comments. Feel free to tell me how you feel, or if you think that maybe I ranked some of these wrong, maybe you think that the God and Durag Vince one should have been swapped. Don't go too crazy, but just tell me your opinions. This is wrestling, sports entertainment. We're here not to always agree, but we're here with opinions. This is Durags and Arm Drags. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also follow me on TikTok, post a lot of clips there, and also I want to do some more stuff, more interactive stuff with TikTok too. So follow me on TikTok at Durags and Arm Drags. Thank you for watching. I'm out.